Hello viewers, this video is called Why So Much Negativity in the UK? It's something that everyone will have detected over the last 12 months. I'm just ducking under this hedge. I'm just walking my dog Lenny, who is an English bulldog, and he gets huge sticks like this. So it's quite tricky sometimes to talk and walk my dog, as I'm sure anyone who's got a dog will understand. Negativity in the UK, it's all over YouTube, it's all over the world, it's all over social media, the state of the UK at the moment, and it seems that there's nothing positive to say about the UK, and I'm here to tell you there is. The UK is not what it looks like on certain YouTube channels, which basically highlight the degradation of some of our towns and cities and some of the folk who inhabit them. There is another side of England that is not as grim as it's made out to be. Even in the locations where you see crackheads, thieves, shoplifters, homeless vagrants who are mentally ill, you will see chaos, what looks like chaos in towns and cities. And that's not to say that doesn't exist. It does exist. But that exists in, I'd argue, all over the world, in any major city or conurbation, you know. So I think that people see, look, I've just got to show you what Lenny's doing here, which he's kind of interrupting my flow. Are you going to drop that stick, Lenny, or are you just going to keep trying to hit me with it? There's all this beautiful open space and you are more intent on smashing me in the legs with this stick. Right, let's carry on. So what I'm saying is, and this isn't an elitist view either, if you go anywhere where there's a rough mixture of experiences and people, around the corner you will always find beauty and nice people living their life. So it's something that gets lost in the YouTube algorithm. I think that there's too much emphasis on weird people walking around shouting at each other and scrapping in the streets, and it's so tempting to think that England has gone downhill. So there is a lot of negativity, and a lot of things in England are worse now than they've ever been. You know, the difference between rich and poor is bigger than it's ever been. There are more billionaires in England than there's ever been, but at the same token, there are more people in poverty. And I'm not some kind of lefty or righty. I'm not a particularly political person. I think anyone who has strong political opinions makes it part of their identity. And I just think that's not an English thing to do, you know what I mean? It's just not a good thing to do, to base your entire human identity on your political view. You're always going to be in conflict with people. So I went through a phase of watching political YouTube channels, and there are some good ones out there on both sides of an argument, you know. I'm going to shout out, things like, for example, to be specific, Lotus Eaters is a good opportunity to see a certain point of view. Navarra Media is a good opportunity to see often the opposite point of view. And then there's stuff somewhere in between, you know. But ultimately, it's about conflict. These people never sit down with each other and talk. They're quite content to have a strong polemic viewpoint because it gets clicks, not because it's resolving anything. They just want to incite a passion and feeling in you so that you stay engaged. And I promise you, 80% of people in the UK just think these guys are all tossers, you know. They're not living in the real world. In the real world, people get on with each other generally. And there are concerns that people have nationally, and I don't deny there are concerns about things like immigration is probably the classic one people talk about. But, no amount of YouTube channeling is going to solve. So where was I? Yeah, so there are parts of England that are amazing and not as degraded as what you might say. Most people know this, but it's very tempting for people outside of the UK to think that's how England is, and it doesn't help when things get exaggerated on media platforms, national media platforms and social media platforms. So here we are. If you've got an English bulldog, you'll recognise this. Lenny has got a thick end of a stick here, and I'm trying to get him. Come on, Lenny, leave that stick alone. Come on, good boy. Right. People don't want to see you pulling a stick. They want to hear me and see me talking about stuff. You know, ultimately, people who use politics as their raison d'etre, as a replacement for having a personality, are really boring, aren't they? It's just really tiring to go on about how things aren't like they used to be and how the country's in such a state. And you can definitely get consumed with that on YouTube and X in particular. So I just think that nobody cares what your politics are, and it's not that interesting to be outraged all the time about stuff. And what really gets on my goat is British people who live in this country focus all their energy and efforts on what Donald Trump is doing in America. This never happened until Donald Trump came along in 2016 as president. Nobody cared what America did or about American politics. And now I can go in a pub and overhear conversations about what people think about Trump and what he's done this time and what America should do. When these guys are sitting in the UK with no impact, it doesn't impact them whatsoever. And I don't care what you say, there's nothing that Donald Trump is going to do that's going to impact you in the UK. Absolutely zero. I mean, it's arguable that anything any British politician can do is going to affect your life. You just have to get on with it. My best advice to people is to forget about politics and don't put your hands in these people. MPs, and I've met a lot of MPs, and, you know, they're just average people. They're nothing special. They've not got superpowers that are going to change your life in any way at all. They're living from day to day, week to week, like you are. Nobody's got a long-term plan for you. The only person who can look after you and your environment is you. So if you're one of these people who are constantly outraged by Trump, you need to get a life. That's the reality, and I know most people agree with me. So the best thing you can do is forget about what's happening in America and worry about what's happening in your own shoes. So there's lots of opportunity in England. People just have to find it. We always have done. This country's been amazing for centuries, and somebody like Keir Starmer, who's been in government for 1 year, has not ruined the country. Whatever you think of him, you might think he's useless, completely inept, but no. If there's anything that's been on decline, it's been a long-term decline. It's not something that's happened over the last 12 months. So going back to the reason for this video, why does it feel like everybody in the UK is miserable? It's because people are seeing stuff online. It's not because people are seeing it in real life, I don't think. If you shine a light on Piccadilly Gardens in Manchester, in the day or night, it's going to look like a dump. It's going to look like a cesspit, a cesspool of crackheads, smackheads, and all sorts of nefarious characters walking around. You know, if you shine a light somewhere like here, there's no crackheads here. I'm not in a posh part of anywhere. Some big houses in the background though, I can see, but you know, this is just normal England. It's not big city England, it's not village England, it's just a normal suburban place with council houses side by side to £800,000 houses. So Somebody's put this flag up here. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see. And even this is flying at half mast. It's flying at half mast. You know, is that deliberate? Is that a symbol of what people think of the UK? Whether you're proud of it or not. What do you think, Lenny? More to the point, what do you think, viewers? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. A patriot has put this up, and what keeps happening with this flag? Somebody keeps putting it up and somebody keeps pulling it down, and it's been going on for weeks and weeks and weeks. They're probably doing it in the dead of night. I don't know when they're doing it, but it's this kind of stuff that has been in the news all year.